All right, so you're trying to decide between two Schott Perfectos, the Schott 618 and the Schott 519. In this video, I'm going to run through the differences between these jackets so you can make a good choice when you're picking one out. Really, two main differences between them are the leather they're made out of and the cut or fit of the jacket. But before we talk about those specific two major differentiators, we have to think about the overall style of these two jackets. So the 618 is the classic motorcycle biker jacket. So everything about this jacket is informed by that. So it's made of the leather that's better for riding a motorcycle and protection. It's got features that make sense for being on a motorcycle, and it's really from an era, the 1950s. So you have to think that this jacket made the most sense in the 1950s. Switching over to the 519, this jacket is a more modern addition to the Schott lineup. This jacket is not really made for riding on a motorcycle. This is a more fashion-oriented jacket that takes a lot of those classic biker features and tries to make them relevant to a modern guy who wants to wear a jacket around onto town. So taking those purposes for the jacket, it really makes sense when we start looking at the leather they're made out of and how they're built to be fitting on the body. The 618 has this very matte, very stiff, heavyweight, tough steer hide. This is a leather that starts off basically looking like a boring blank canvas. And it's also not as comfortable when you're first wearing it because it really needs to be broken in. And Schott even acknowledges this on their website. It's very stiff. So when you're looking at my jacket here, which is a jacket that you can see has been worn and broken in, I will say that this jacket has become very comfortable on me. But I'm the second owner and I've worn this jacket quite a lot. That being said, with time and wear, this leather really does become beautiful. It picks up those kind of scars, those marks of use, the creases and rolls, and the arms take on a lot of character, and just everything about the jacket settles in to your body. And so this leather, being this kind of biker leather, is really robust and takes a lot of work, but eventually does have a big payoff. All right, so the leather on the 519, this leather is a mid-weight pebbled cowhide that has a kind of waxy nature to it. And it has a nice heft, but it is definitely lighter than the steer hide on the Schott 618. So this leather is about a quarter ounce lighter on Schott's site. You know, they give ranges for these things. So the steer hide is 3 to 3.5 ounces, and the midweight pebbled cowhide is about 2.75 to 3.25 ounces. It's the kind of thing that's small but noticeable whenever you're wearing these jackets. Also, because of the nature of this leather, the lightness of it has some impact on the wear, but the fact that they have treated this leather differently during the production, and that pebbling, which is basically they've pre-broken in this jacket. So it is very soft. It is very comfortable. There is essentially no breaking in that happens with this jacket, or very little. And so if you are looking for a leather that's easy to wear right when you get it, then the 519 is a far more approachable jacket. And this makes sense. It's a fashion jacket. So you want to just be able to put it on and go about your business and have that look that you're looking for. Now let's talk about the cut on these jackets. A medium in the 519 isn't exactly the same as a 40 in the 618. And this kind of can lead to some frustration or annoyance when you're trying to buy more than one and you have a jacket that's the perfect fit, but you can't get that perfect fit in another model because the fits are all different. So that being said, the 618 is a trimmer fit and a shorter fit than the 519. Literally, the arms are about a half an inch longer on the 519, or maybe about a 3/4 of an inch, and the body is a full inch longer on the 519 than the 618. And this also kind of does make sense for talking about their purposes, going back to that. So if the 618 is meant as a purist's riding jacket from back in the day, then the trim fit is really necessary because you want it to be close to the body on the motorcycle, and you want it to be short for the riding position, and you want the sleeves to just be long enough to reach the wrists and lock them in. Well, the 519, a lot of folks feel like, and when looking at the 618 from a distance by itself, there is a perception that it can be short. And it is a kind of shorter jacket. And so, well, Schott says, to this modern sensibility, let's make a longer jacket. So they lengthen the sleeves to where they go a little bit further up the hand. They lengthen the body so it goes further down. This especially makes sense for folks who are having untucked shirts with their leather jacket. And so, that change in the lengths makes a lot of sense. All that talk about the jackets, here I want to show you comparing the two on my body. Now, I no longer have the 519, but when I had both the 519 and the 618, I took these pictures wearing the same garments in the same posture and put them right next to each other, because this was always in the back of my mind to make some kind of discussion about these two jackets and why I decided to pick one over the other. And so you can see that for me, at my height, which is 5'9", and weight, which is 175 pounds, and I have just over a 40-inch chest, that while the 618 is shorter, and there is a certain aspect where that shortness can seem too short at times. I don't think that's true, but some people, I could understand people having that take. Looking at the 519 on me, it's kind of obviously too long. The way that the front panels kind of curve and bail out around, how far down past my belt buckle that 519 body goes, and look at the arms on this jacket. It is obviously stacking up and looks kind of sloppy on the arms. And it's a jacket that, because of the softness of that leather, that 519 leather, it's not going to really form strong creases and stack up and shorten those arms. The length is kind of the length when it comes to this jacket. Looking at the back on these two jackets, now the posture here is a little bit off, but you can tell that the 519 has way more extra material on my back, and that's because the bottom of that jacket, it gets pushed up, just like we were talking about with the sleeves. There's just so much extra material on the back. Now the 618, there's a little bit, and I think, like I mentioned, this is partially due to posture, because most of the time when I'm moving in this jacket, it essentially presents a flat back, which means that it is not overly long and bunching up. Really looking at these two together, to me, when I took these pictures, it was like light bulb. It became so obvious to me that the 618 and that fit on that 618 was really way more desirable and suitable for me at my height and my desire to tuck in shirts, and my arm lengths and everything about the way my body is works a lot better with the 618. Now, if you're taller than me, if you're wearing your shirt untucked all the time, if you have significantly longer arms than I do, then it could be a different calculation. Aside from those two really big things, the leather and the fit, there are a few other differences which are notable about these two jackets. One, the 618 has both an action back and underarm footballs. The 519 has a slightly more streamlined look, and there are no underarm footballs. The 519 has some differences with the accessories. So the 618 is a kind of plain jacket. There's no adornment, even though it has all these zippers and things. The 519 has the stars on the shoulders. It's a one-star style jacket. The epaulettes are very slightly differently shaped. The belt buckle is different between these two jackets. So the 618 has a kind of lighter weight belt buckle. It's functional, but not very flashy. The 519 has a bigger, shinier belt buckle, which has actually got a snap behind it to hold it in place so it doesn't flop around and hit stuff. So the buckles are different. And there's also a difference in the way that the sleeves are handled with the zips. So the 519 has an open gusset, so when you open the sleeve, you can actually kind of see through to your skin. And on the 618, you can't see through it because it's a full leather gusset there. These jackets also have a different lining. Now, the one you've seen on the 519 that I have in these images is not the standard lining. That was kind of a special run with a different lining for Nordstrom. But the standard lining on the 618 is a little bit of a heavier quilted poly nylon than what you find on the 519, so I have to imagine it will be very slightly warmer. Not a huge difference, but maybe noticeable depending on what you're using it for. And these jackets finally have a different handling of the bottom sweep or bottom hem of the jacket. So the 519 is slightly closer in than the 618, and the way that it's cut is different. So the 618 has a kind of classic motorcycle jacket cut where the very back center of the jacket dips a little bit to cover the bottom of your shirt and where the belt meets the shirt when you're in the riding position on a motorcycle. The 519 does not have that dip. The jacket length is flat against on the bottom, and because it's flat and all the way around to the front, there's no kind of rise up like there is on the 618. That means the front length is a little bit longer too on the 519 versus the 618. If you're looking to buy from Schott, I have these two jackets linked in my description. If you go through those links, I'll get a small affiliate commission, which is basically like giving me a tip for helping you make a good choice. That would be awesome if you did that. Back to the video. Now, you may have been thinking about price this whole time. It's kind of the last big differentiator between these two jackets. And the 618 right now goes for $915, while the 519 goes for $1,050. So it's, $130 more for the 519. Honestly, at this price range, when we're talking about $915 versus $1,050, it's very close, really. We're talking, 10% price difference or whatever that is. And if you're buying a jacket at this price and they're this close to each other, it strikes me that the price difference is probably not going to be the big determinant for you. It will really be the leather and the fit that are going to be the ultimate deciders for you. And I honestly do believe in many ways it comes down to fit. Fit to me more than the leather here, because these are both good leathers in their own right. But fit is king. And it was hard for me to decide between these two jackets until I really looked at those images and saw the comparison of the two fits on my body and said, hey, that 618 has it going on. That's the fit I need. So let me know if you've had these Perfectos and we're deciding between them, or if there's something else about a comparison that would be helpful for you. I'd love to hear it, and I hope you found some value in my comparison of these two jackets and my experience with them.